Before humans fully understood the power of the wild winter, before science could explain how life survives beneath ice and snow, there already existed a world where the cold tested every living creature. Among snow-covered pine forests, hot springs, and frozen valleys of Yellowstone, animals must struggle against hunger, freezing cold, predators, and the harshest secrets of survival. Welcome to Extreme Yellowstone, Survival Secrets in the Coldest Winter. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to motivate us to keep creating more quality content. Don't forget to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts about the video, and tell us where you are watching from so we can discuss it together. Let's begin. When winter blankets the Yellowstone Plateau, it transforms this wilderness into one of the continent's most challenging environments. Snow accumulates meters deep in the valleys and slopes, while temperatures frequently drop far below freezing. The Lamar Valley, often called the Serengeti of the United States, becomes the stage for nature's most dramatic survival stories. For the grey wolf, reintroduced to Yellowstone in the mid-1990s, winter is a time of opportunity. Their thick double coats and efficient pack hunting tactics help them adapt perfectly to these extreme conditions. A wolf pack moves as a unified organism across the landscape, communicating through subtle body language as they track their prey through the snow. Their powerful sense of smell can detect animals buried under deep snow or catch the scent of an elk herd miles away. The confrontation between wolf and elk dates back to the dawn of time, a deadly ballet where each side knows its role well. The elk, despite its colossal size and dangerous antlers, finds itself at a disadvantage in deep snow. Their long legs pierce the snow crust, forcing them to expend valuable energy with every heavy step. Wolves, with lighter bodies and wider paws, can often travel across the surface with relative ease. They test the prey herd, searching for signs of weakness. They identify an animal that lags behind, walks with a slight limp, or shows hesitation. The decision to attack is not made lightly. Every encounter carries the risk of injury from sharp hooves or antlers. A broken jaw or an injured leg can mean death for a predator that must hunt to live. Once decided, the pack coordinates with astonishing precision. Some wolves create distractions while others approach from behind. The chase can last for minutes or miles, and every animal must put its endurance to the ultimate test. The geothermal heart of Yellowstone provides a special refuge in this frozen world. Across the park's 2.2 million acres, More than 4,000 thermal features create microclimates where snow melts to reveal patches of grass. These oases become meeting points for Yellowstone's most iconic resident, the American bison, weighing up to 900 kilograms. These living monuments of prehistoric North America developed extraordinary adaptations to survive the winter. Their gigantic heads function as snowplows, pushing snow aside to reveal vegetation. Their thick skin and dense undercoat, with fibers 10 times thicker than human hair, insulate them from the most intense cold. Bison reduce their metabolism during the winter, conserving energy by moving less and digesting food more slowly. The landscape of Yellowstone in winter is defined by its extremes. The volcanic caldera that forms the park's central plateau is one of the largest on Earth, a sleeping giant whose thermal breath creates a mosaic of microclimates. In some areas, just centimeters away from the snowpack, the ground remains warm enough to sustain plant life. The warm soil provides a crucial habitat for small mammals. The red fox has perfected a remarkable hunting technique to survive the winter. With ears capable of detecting the slightest rustle under meters of snow, the fox locates mice and voles moving through subnivean tunnels. In a behavior known as mousing, the fox leaps high and dives headfirst into the snow. The fox often emerges with prey in its jaws. These small predators must consume an amount of food equivalent to their own body weight every 2 days to maintain their energy throughout the winter. Not all of Yellowstone's residents choose to face the winter challenge. Nearly 150 bird species depart for warmer climates, while others, like the grizzly bear, opt for hibernation. By late October, most grizzlies have retreated to their dens after spending the previous months in a feeding frenzy called hyperphagia. They consume up to 20,000 calories daily to build up fat reserves for their long sleep. A female bear will give birth during hibernation, usually to twins, the cubs, weighing less than half a kilogram at birth. Nurse and grow in the safety of the den while winter rages outside. By the time spring arrives, they will weigh about 7 kilograms and face the outside world alongside their protective mother. For the Yellowstone elk, winter is a brutal equation of energy conservation. These magnificent ungulates, with a population of over 10,000 in the ecosystem, must find enough food to survive while spending as little energy as possible. Many migrate to lower elevations outside the park, following ancestral routes used by their predecessors for millennia. Those that remain face a daily struggle to find food and avoid predators. The sound of elk hooves scraping at the snow becomes the winter soundtrack of the valleys. They dig holes that look like craters, revealing the sparse vegetation hidden beneath. Their specialized digestive system allows them to process even the lowest quality forage. Elk extract maximum nutrients from frozen grasses and shrubs that would provide very little sustenance to other species. As winter grows more severe, the park falls into a state of stagnation. The snow muffles sound, creating a quietude interrupted only occasionally by the cracking of trees or the distant howl of a wolf pack. Temperatures can vary drastically, from piercing cold under clear skies to relative warmth during snowstorms when clouds act as thermal insulation. Night brings its own magic to a Yellowstone winter with minimal light pollution. The stars shine with unusual clarity, and occasionally auroras dance in the sky in green curtains. The cold air transmits sound with amazing efficiency. It reaches the point where the hoot of a great horned owl can be heard from miles away. For the creatures of Yellowstone, winter is not something to conquer, but something to endure through adaptation. Each species carries with it the wisdom of countless generations etched into its body and behavior. These are lessons learned through relentless natural selection. This knowledge is manifest in the bison's giant head, developed to clear snow, and in the fox's precise strike. As the calendar advances, winter seems endless and food becomes scarce. The weak begin to succumb, and their bodies fuel the nutrient recycling cycle that makes this ecosystem function. After the long silence, the first sounds of spring emerge timidly with the dripping of icicles. The gentle murmur of streams under the ice is heard, along with the distant call of Canada geese. Welcome to Yellowstone in spring, the season of rapid rebirth. Here, life accelerates from the lethargic rhythm of winter to the hurried pulse of reproduction. The transition showcases nature's extraordinary resilience and the complex synchronization evolved over millennia. For the grizzly bear, the start of spring marks the end of a 5-month dormancy. The mother now faces the challenge of finding sufficient nutrition and protecting her vulnerable cubs. She has lost up to 30% of her body weight and must recover reserves while producing milk for her young. The bear's first meals often come from the carcasses of animals that died in winter. As omnivores with a flexible diet, grizzlies quickly transition to digging for roots and lily bulbs. Their massive shoulder muscles and long claws make them efficient excavators. Communication becomes crucial, and tree marking acts as a complex olfactory bulletin board. Each bear leaves a unique scent mark that transmits information about its identity and status. In a landscape where direct encounters can be dangerous, this system helps them maintain the necessary distance. Death during the winter creates opportunities for Yellowstone's cleanup crew. The raven, with intelligence rivaling that of chimpanzees, follows wolf packs. It knows that a successful hunt will provide a feast. These cunning birds have been observed pulling the tails of wolves to distract them and lure them away from a carcass. They also drop branches on sleeping wolves to move them away from prey. The coyote is more cautious and waits for the wolves to leave before approaching to eat the remains. Their relationship is complex and often violent. Wolves kill coyotes not just for competition, but due to territorial instinct. However, the coyote persists thanks to its adaptability, sometimes forming temporary alliances with ravens. The latter act as aerial scouts to locate food in exchange for access to the carrion. Not all winter residents of Yellowstone merely endure the rigor. Some species seem to enjoy it. River otters transform ice-covered channels into genuine playgrounds. They create slides along the riverbanks to move with efficiency and for pure pleasure. These mustelids keep breathing holes open in the ice to fish and can hold their breath for up to 4 minutes. Their dense fur helps them retain heat even in the most frigid waters. The Madison River remains partially open during the winter, creating a vital resource for waterfowl. The trumpeter swan congregates in these rare open waters. Once hunted almost to extinction, by 1935, fewer than 70 individuals remained in the U.S. Today, their captivating song resonates once again throughout Yellowstone's winter landscape. For wolf packs in Yellowstone, spring brings new challenges and opportunities. The alpha female, who mated in February, now prepares to give birth. The entire pack becomes more protective than ever of their den, which is usually an enlarged old badger or coyote burrow, or a natural cavity among tree roots. In this sanctuary, 4 to 6 cubs will be born, blind and totally dependent on their mother and the extended family structure of the pack. The cubs grow rapidly, opening their eyes at 2 weeks. At 3 weeks of age, they begin to leave the den and explore the environment under the pack's strict protection. The entire group participates in the rearing. Non-breeding members bring food and take turns as babysitters while others hunt. This collective rearing tactic increases survival chances in a hostile environment where hunting success is never guaranteed. Spring predation requires different tactics than those used in winter. As the snow retreats, the elk regains its mobility advantage, but calves born in May and June become priority targets. Wolves must balance the ease of capturing vulnerable newborns with their small size, which provides less nutrition. Adult elk, especially females recovering from birth and winter, remain vulnerable as they have not yet regained their optimal physical condition. The bison calving season transforms Yellowstone's demographic landscape. They are born with a characteristic orange-red coat that will darken with age. Calves can stand up almost immediately after birth and follow the herd in just one day. These calves, affectionately called red dogs by park staff due to their color and playful personality, infuse new energy into the herd. Bison mothers form loose nursery groups, creating a solid defensive barrier around their young. When wolves or bears approach, these giant mothers form a united front. Their sharp horns and 900-kilogram bodies force predators to reconsider. Even the grizzly, the apex predator, must be cautious when approaching a defensive bison herd. As smaller mammals emerge from their hibernation burrows, they become prey for opportunistic hunters. The coyote shifts its diet from scavenger to hunter of ground squirrels, voles, and mice. Its characteristic pouncing technique becomes common in the meadows where rodents begin their activity. The fastest animal in North America, the pronghorn, returns to the north of the park as the snow melts. Capable of reaching sustained speeds of 88 kilometers per hour, this delicate ungulate developed its extraordinary quickness to escape extinct Ice Age predators, such as the American cheetah. Today, their speed gives them a wide safety margin against wolves and coyotes, although newborns remain in danger. Females separate from the herd to give birth, usually to twins, and hide them in the tall grass during the first few weeks. Young pronghorns have almost no body odor. Their spotted coat provides excellent camouflage, and they remain instinctively motionless in the face of danger. The mother only returns briefly to nurse them, minimizing the chance that a predator will discover their location. The fish spawning season attracts attention from the air. The osprey, after returning from the south, establishes nesting territories near productive fishing areas. This expert hunter can submerge completely in the water, feet first, to catch fish before emerging with the prey held firmly in its curved talons. A reversible outer toe and spiny pads on the feet help them grip slippery prey while flying back to their nests. Bears are also attracted by the spawn. Although the Yellowstone grizzly is not as skilled a fisherman as its coastal relatives, the concentrated source of protein attracts hungry individuals to the stream banks. Beavers become particularly active with the arrival of spring. They repair dams and lodges damaged by winter ice and flooding. These ecosystem engineers transform the landscape with their constructions, creating wetlands that benefit countless species. A beaver family can felling hundreds of trees a year, preferring aspens and willows. Beaver incisors are extraordinary tools. They are self-sharpening and grow continuously, with an iron-reinforced enamel layer that gives them their characteristic orange color. These specialized teeth allow them to gnaw on trees much larger than their own bodies, shaping the riparian environment and increasing the biodiversity of the entire system. As the wetlands thaw, Yellowstone's resident birds return in waves. The sandhill crane, among the first to arrive, performs sophisticated courtship dances in the open meadows. Standing nearly 1.5 meters tall, these ancient birds dance with wings partially extended. They leap and bow in synchronized movements that reinforce pair bonds that can last for decades. Warmer days also trigger amphibian reproduction. The western toad emerges from hibernation and congregates in shallow pools. Males emit choruses of calls to attract females. After mating, the female deposits long strings of up to 16,000 eggs. These must complete their metamorphosis before the aquatic habitat dries up under the summer heat. These amphibians are vital indicators of ecosystem health because their permeable skin makes them vulnerable. In the coniferous forests, the American marten moves with amazing agility among the treetops. These small predators can take down prey larger than themselves, such as snowshoe hares. Snowshoe hares have already changed their white winter fur for summer brown. Aspen forests also undergo their spring transformation. These trees reproduce primarily by root suckers, forming clonal colonies where hundreds of trees are actually part of the same gigantic organism. For the elk, spring brings indispensable nutritional relief with the growth of fresh, protein-rich grass. Pregnant females seek out green areas with urgency to support the final phase of fetal development. Parturition usually peaks in late May and early June, when mothers seek isolated areas. The newborn fawn weighs about 16 kilograms and has a spotted coat that provides excellent camouflage. In their first few weeks, they remain silent and hidden while the mother grazes nearby and returns several times a day to nurse them. On the steep, rocky slopes of Yellowstone's mountains, the bighorn sheep welcomes its new generation. Lambs are born with an innate ability to climb. They develop rapidly under the guidance of their mothers. Just days after birth, they can navigate precarious ledges and near vertical cliffs. This adaptation allows them to escape predators that cannot follow them into such challenging terrain. Meadows and forest edges become the stage for bird courtships. Migratory songbird species establish territories and attract mates. The mountain bluebird is one of the first species to return. The male displays his radiant sky blue plumage. He performs aerial displays and shows potential nest cavities to demanding females. Their insectivorous diet forces them to synchronize their return with precision. If they arrive too early, they might not find enough food. If they arrive too late, the best sites will already have been occupied. Other subtle signs reveal the presence of permanent residents, like the dusky grouse. The male establishes display territories where he performs his characteristic wing beating. He stands on a fallen log and strikes his wings with an increasing rhythm that creates a sound similar to distant thunder. These sites are known as drumming logs. The sites can be used by successive generations of grouse for decades. The yellow-bellied marmot emerges from its 8 months of hibernation with a considerable workload. These large ground squirrels must regain the weight lost during the long winter sleep. They prepare for the short summer breeding season. Their warning whistles echo across the rocky slopes to alert the colony of potential aerial threats. The main danger is the golden eagle. This species of raptor can dive and capture even an adult marmot. The balance between life and death is maintained in the heights. Summer arrives in Yellowstone with the subtlety of an explosion. It is the season of an abundance almost unimaginable during the winter. The short window of ideal conditions triggers a biological race for growth and reproduction. It is the time for preparations for future challenges. Throughout the park's 810,000 hectares, life manifests in infinite forms. All organisms participate in the great summer acceleration. Solar energy is absorbed through plant photosynthesis. It flows through the food web with a unique intensity in this short season. For the grizzly bear, summer represents an opportunity for survival. After emerging from hibernation with a nutritional deficit, they now find themselves in an environment of abundance. Females with cubs are under special pressure. they must consume enough calories to maintain milk production while teaching essential skills. A grizzly mother can travel across hundreds of square kilometers during the summer. She guides her litter to seasonal food sources as they become available. The grizzly's diet demonstrates its adaptability. As omnivores, they consume everything from ants and moths to fawns and carrion. Their long claws serve as multi-purpose tools for digging up nutritious roots. They are also used for flipping rocks in search of crayfish and insects. A grizzly can consume 30,000 calories daily during the feeding peak. Cutthroat trout were historically a crucial food source for the bears. The illegal introduction of non-native lake trout devastated the cutthroat trout population. This forced the bears to look for other alternatives. Bison enter their breeding season, or rut, as the summer progresses. Males reintegrate into the large herds dominated by females and young. The change in the male's behavior is drastic. Their usually calm character gives way to aggressive displays as they compete for mates. Male bison establish their dominance through impressive displays. They scrape the earth, creating mud holes to wallow in and cover their bodies with dirt. This behavior serves to ward off insects and to demonstrate size and strength. Their bellows echo for miles through the valleys. When displays are not enough, physical confrontations decide the hierarchy. These battles between 900-kilogram giants can reach an astonishing intensity. Males charge at each other at top speed. They use skulls and muscles adapted to absorb impacts that would kill other animals. Although rarely fatal, these battles can cause serious injuries. They reduce the male's chances of survival in the winter. The rut transforms the dynamics of the herd. Males test the receptivity of females using their acute sense of smell to detect hormonal changes. A female is only fertile for less than 24 hours. The largest and most dominant specimens perform most of the breeding, ensuring genetic quality. For the Yellowstone elk, summer is a phase of recovery and preparation. The females that gave birth in late spring now graze in the rich meadows. They transform abundant vegetation into nutritious milk for their rapidly growing fawns. For their part, the males invest enormous energy in the development of their antlers. It is the fastest growing tissue in the animal kingdom, capable of growing up to 2.5 centimeters daily at its peak. Elk antlers are wonders of biological engineering. They grow from specialized cells at the base and branch out according to their genetic programming and nutritional. It is a specialized layer of skin rich in blood-pink bone. At the end of summer, the antlers harden and blood flow ceases. The velvet dries and peels off, revealing the polished bone. Wolf cubs born in April have now left the den and established rendezvous sites on the ground. These places become the social center of the pack, where the cubs develop crucial skills through games that simulate adult behavior. They practice chases, leaps, and the establishment of hierarchies. They perform simulated fights and tests of strength. Adult pack members take turns hunting and caring for the cubs, maintaining the cooperative social structure. Upon return, the hunters regurgitate partially digested meat to feed the young and the adults who stayed behind to guard the site. Summer poses its own challenges for Yellowstone's wolves. Their thick double coat, a great advantage in winter, is now a burden under the summer heat. Wolves are active primarily at dawn and dusk. They rest in shaded areas during the hottest hours. Their success rate in hunting decreases compared to winter, as the prey has regained strength and mobility. Young pronghorns born in spring now exhibit the amazing speed characteristic of their species. By midsummer, they can outrun almost any predator. They practice their running skills and pronking, a special type of jump where all four legs leave the ground at the same time. This behavior serves to develop body coordination and cardiovascular capacity. The pronghorn's giant eyes reveal its evolutionary history. With pupils that are always horizontal and a visual field of nearly 320 degrees, they can detect movement at distances of up to 6 kilometers. These adaptations evolved to help them detect the American cheetah and other fast predators that disappeared at the end of the Pleistocene. Today's pronghorn possesses a design that seems to exceed the needs of its current environment. The black bear reaches its maximum level of activity in summer, and its omnivorous diet changes according to food availability. Unlike the grizzly, black bears are expert climbers. They use this skill both to find food and to escape threats. Their curved claws function as natural climbing tools, allowing them to climb vertical trunks with amazing speed. They can descend backward or in a controlled slide like a fireman on a pole. Their diet goes through phases of seasonal transition. Early summer brings plants and insect protein, later moving to berries as they ripen at different altitudes. Bears possess an exceptional spatial memory. They return to productive areas year after year and create what biologists call cultural knowledge, passed from generation in generation. In Yellowstone's lakes and ponds, trumpeter swan cygnets born in early summer follow their parents closely. They learn to search for aquatic plants, invertebrates, and occasionally small fish. These giant birds, with wingspans of nearly 2.5 meters, were near extinction in the early 20th century due to intensive hunting for their plumage and skin. Their recovery represents one of the partial successes of conservation, though they remain vulnerable to habitat loss. Beaver colonies reach their maximum annual activity level in the summer months. These extraordinary ecosystem engineers maintain complex family groups within solid lodges built of branches and mud. Their dams and dikes transform streams into rich wetlands that benefit countless species, from aquatic insects and amphibians to elk and waterfowl. A beaver family can fell hundreds of trees a year with a calculated selection of species and size. Their preferred food, the inner bark of aspen, cottonwood, and willow, is most nutritious in summer. They store surplus branches underwater near their lodges, creating larders that allow them to eat when ice makes terrestrial feeding difficult. The moose, the largest deer in North America, finds its ideal habitat in these beaver-created wetlands. Their specialized digestive system allows them to process aquatic plants that might be irritating or toxic to other ungulates. A moose can consume 22 to 27 kilograms of vegetation daily in summer, building up reserves to survive the winter when metabolism slows. They have developed remarkable adaptations for their semi-aquatic lifestyle. Their long nose and prehensile uplip function as flexible tongs for gathering plants on and under the water. The fold of skin hanging from their neck, called a bell, may function as a social signaling mechanism, though its exact purpose remains a debate among biologists. Summer provides the best fishing opportunities for the osprey in Yellowstone. These specialized raptors have unique adaptations for their piscivorous lifestyle. The outer toe can pivot backward to create a double grip, both front and back, which helps them hold firmly onto slippery fish. Special pads on their feet contain spicules that increase grip. The backward-pointing scales on their talons act as hooks to prevent prey from escaping. The osprey's nest, usually built on dead trees near productive fishing areas, becomes a hub of feverish activity. The parents bring a nearly continuous stream of fish for their growing chicks. The young develop rapidly, reaching nearly adult size just 6 weeks after hatching. Their first flights usually occur between the 7th and 8th week. Parents continue to supply food while the young perfect their hunting skills. While the osprey specializes in fishing, other raptors pursue different targets. The peregrine falcon, after recovering from near extinction due to DDT pesticide pollution, hunts smaller birds through spectacular aerial attacks. During their hunting dives, they can exceed 320 kilometers per hour, making them the fastest animal on Earth. This speed allows them to strike their prey in mid-air with such force that the impact is often immediately lethal. For its part, the golden eagle patrols the highest areas of Yellowstone, where ascending thermal currents offer ideal conditions for soaring. It has a wingspan of 2.4 meters and talons capable of exerting a pressure of 340 kilograms per square centimeter. They can capture large prey such as young pronghorns or coyotes. Their primary prey during the summer are the yellow-bellied marmot and the white-tailed jackrabbit, though they also seek carrion when they detect it. As day gives way to night, Yellowstone's diurnal beings seek refuge while nocturnal specialists begin to emerge. Fireflies perform bioluminescent courtship displays in the fields near water sources. Each species creates a unique flash pattern, forming a silent dialogue of light that allows males and females to identify their suitable partner in the darkness. Little brown bats leave their daytime roosts in rock crevices and tree hollows to hunt flying insects. These aerial insectivores can consume more than 1,000 mosquitoes per hour. They help with natural pest control while transforming insect protein into guano, which fertilizes the soil and cave ecosystems. A single reproductive colony can consume tens of thousands of insects each night during the peak of summer. As summer transitions into autumn, subtle changes begin to appear. Days shorten almost imperceptibly, triggering hormonal changes in both plants and animals. Nights become cooler, giving way to the first color changes in deciduous vegetation. The great wheel of the seasons continues its eternal turn, moving inevitably toward the time of harvest and preparations for winter's return. This is the season of transition, reunions, and migrations. It is about mating rituals and final gatherings before winter reclaims the high ground. The score of autumn begins before dawn, when male elk announce their presence with haunting bellows. Their voices, half whistle, half roar, travel miles through the pure mountain air. They function as both a challenge to rivals and an invitation to potential mates. The rut has begun, transforming these usually quiet animals into aggressive competitors consumed by the reproductive drive. For the Yellowstone elk, autumn represents the culmination of the year's biological objective. The males have spent all summer developing and sharpening their magnificent antlers, which can measure up to 1.5 meters wide and weigh up to 18 kilograms. Now, these weapons and status symbols will decide their reproductive success. Males establish and defend harems of females that sometimes exceed 20 individuals. Confrontations between leaders can be spectacular and dangerous. Rivals of equal strength can fight for hours with antlers locked, pushing, twisting, and maneuvering to gain an advantage. The winner takes or maintains breeding rights, while the loser retreats to recover his strength. Fatal injuries, though rare, are not non-existent. Broken legs, puncture wounds, or locked antlers can occur, condemning both to a slow death by starvation. A female is only fertile for a 24-hour period within her estrus cycle, which generates fierce competition among males. The dominant male must constantly guard the harem, detecting when each female reaches her point of fertility. The male must repel opportunistic rivals. The energy expenditure is colossal. A male can lose up to 20% of his body weight during the rut, entering winter in a vulnerable state. For the grizzly bear, autumn triggers hyperphagia, a biological state in which hunger eclipses almost every other need. Bears must consume up to 20,000 calories daily during this stage to build up fat reserves. These reserves will allow them to survive hibernation. Their digging ability intensifies as they search for roots of biscuit root, lumper, and other starch-rich tubers. The prominent hump on the grizzly's shoulders contains large muscle masses that power this work. Their front claws, which can exceed 10 centimeters in length, act as effective digging tools. A single bear can move large tracts of earth during its autumn search. This helps to aerate the soil and disperse plant seeds. Berry fields attract bears from miles away, thanks to an extraordinary sense of smell capable of detecting ripe fruit at remote distances. Cranberries, service berries, wild cherries, and buffalo berries provide concentrated sugars. These sugars are efficiently transformed into the layer of fat needed for the winter. A bear can consume thousands of berries a day, staining its fur around the snout and paws with the juice of the fruits. In river basins, where the native cutthroat trout population remains healthy, autumn fish migrations provide an essential source of protein and fat. Bears use various fishing techniques to prepare. They may stand motionless, waiting for the rapid passage of a fish, or dive headfirst to catch it against the stream bed. Others simply enter shallow water and slap fish toward the bank with their powerful paws. At higher altitudes, whitebark pine seeds become available as their cones ripen. The black bear, with its superior climbing ability, scales to the canopy to collect this highly caloric food. The grizzly, less suited for climbing, may shake the trees or search for the seed stores that red squirrels have hidden. A single cone of this pine can contain more than 100 seeds. Each seed provides concentrated nutrition crucial for weight gain before hibernation. As autumn progresses, females take on a rounded appearance due to the accumulation of subcutaneous fat. Their previously flat faces thicken, and their bodies become visibly circular. This transformation is their guarantee of survival. Each pound of fat helps sustain the bear for one day of hibernation. Females that will give birth in winter need additional reserves to maintain milk production while they remain in the den. Time is running out before the first major storm covers the plateau. Yellowstone's bison herds transition from the summer rut to a phase of intense preparation for the challenges of winter. Males now concentrate on recovering their physical condition after the energy drain of the rut. Their massive heads and robust shoulders possess specialized bone structures and muscle masses. They are developed specifically to push snow aside and access the layer of dry grass. Many Yellowstone bison perform seasonal movements in response to changing conditions. As snow accumulates in the highlands, herds gradually descend to lower elevation wintering areas. These journeys follow traditional routes used for generations. They represent a form of cultural knowledge transmitted among members of the herd. Bison begin to grow their winter coats as the days shorten, regardless of temperature. The thick, coarse outer layer of guard hair can measure up to 38 centimeters. The dense inner layer of down provides insulation, capable of resisting temperatures of 40 degrees below zero. This adaptation is so efficient that snow can accumulate on their backs without melting. For the Yellowstone pronghorn, autumn marks the beginning of one of the longest ungulate migrations in the contiguous 48 U.S. states. Some herds travel more than 240 kilometers south. The journey heads toward wintering grounds in the Green River Basin in Wyoming. This route crosses various management areas, navigating a maze of roads, fences, and human settlements. The pronghorn's extraordinary adaptations become evident during migration. In the event of an alarm, specialized muscle bundles raise the white hair on their rump. This movement creates a bright signal visible for miles to warn others of danger. Their heart, lungs, and maximum-sized trachea allow them to run at a sustained speed of 56 kilometers per hour. They can reach bursts of speed exceeding 88 kilometers per hour. This is an evolutionary response to now extinct predators that today allows them to stay safe from wolves and coyotes. For Yellowstone's wolves, autumn brings family consolidation. Cubs born in spring are now nearly grown and more deeply integrated into the group's activities. The organized chaos of summer rearing gives way to much more coordinated pack behaviors. Hunting efficiency improves thanks to the participation of these young adolescents. Their excessive enthusiasm sometimes ruins the calculated stalking plans of experienced adults. Wolves usually travel in single file, placing the hind paw exactly in the track left by the front paw. This energy-saving movement allows them to cover great distances with minimal effort, A typical pack can patrol a territory of more than 320 square kilometers. They use howls and scent marks to delimit their borders with neighboring packs. Group cohesion is reinforced through shared sounds. The wolf's howl serves multiple functions. It serves to announce territory, convene meetings, and express social bonds. Each wolf has a unique voice that other members can recognize. The howl usually begins with an individual and then increases as others join, creating a harmonious polyphony. These sounds can travel miles through Yellowstone's open valleys. They form one of nature's most iconic soundscapes. Autumn also brings feverish activity to beaver colonies. These industrious rodents must ensure that their dams and lodges are in perfect condition before ice limits their construction capacity. The sound of falling trees becomes common along riparian corridors. Beavers collect building materials and store food reserves for the winter. The beaver's characteristic orange incisors grow continuously throughout its life. They possess an enamel layer on the front that is harder than the back. This difference in hardness creates a self-sharpening effect. As the tooth wears down, it maintains a chisel-like edge capable of felling a tree 15 centimeters in diameter in less than 30 minutes. Beaver lodges are carefully constructed to offer protection against predators and thermal insulation against the cold. The walls reach 1 meter in thickness, made of interlaced branches and sealed with mud. The inner chamber maintains a temperature above 0 degrees Celsius, even when the outside temperature plunges far below freezing. The underwater entrance prevents the intrusion of terrestrial predators. Food stores submerged under the ice provide nutrition when foraging outside becomes impossible. It is a masterful survival strategy. The first significant snowfalls usually reach the Yellowstone highlands in October. They create a landscape in a phase of transition. These early storms can melt quickly, but they act as the herald of the coming season. Flora and fauna react to these signals with growing urgency. Creatures complete final preparations before winter officially reigns over the plateau. Morning frosts become more frequent as autumn advances. Crystalline structures temporarily transform Yellowstone's meadows. These frosts trigger the final dormancy in many plant species. Chemical processes shift from growth to winter survival. Plants adapt their cellular structures to prevent them from rupturing due to freezing temperatures. Elk begin their autumn migration. They abandon their summer residency areas in the park's highlands to move to lower elevations. Some herds travel up to 96 kilometers. following ancestral routes used by their predecessors for countless generations. These journeys cross multiple administrative boundaries. They pass through park borders, national forests, and private lands. Human development increasingly fragments traditional migratory corridors, posing challenges for conservation. Geothermal zones maintain their surreal appearance despite the change of season. The vibrantly colored bacterial mats surrounding the hot springs change slightly. The change occurs in response to the drop in ambient temperature as different microbial populations predominate. Some thermal pools look even more spectacular, surrounded by frost or light snow. The contrast between extreme heat and intense cold generates dreamlike steam effects under the daylight. Yellowstone prepares to close the circle and face the rigors of winter once again. Trees marked by bears suffer more and more scratches and bites as winter approaches. Both black bears and grizzlies leave trails of scent, hair, and visual signals of their presence by rubbing and scratching specific trees. These forms of communication help them avoid direct confrontations during the hyperphagia period prior to hibernation. It is a stage where aggression levels are very high and territories often overlap in the most productive feeding sites. Brown trout, introduced into Yellowstone waters in the early 20th century, begin their spawning season as the water temperature drops. Females use their tails to dig depressions in the gravel bed of streams, where they deposit eggs. Unlike the native cutthroat trout, which spawns in spring, brown trout reproduce in autumn. Their eggs develop slowly during the winter months before hatching in early spring. The red fox's characteristic colors become more vibrant as its winter coat begins to grow. The dense underfur, which can increase in thickness by up to 40% to protect the body from the cold, gives them a more robust appearance. These highly adaptable predators expand their hunting range beyond rodents whenever possible. They take advantage of the seasonal vulnerability of ground-nesting birds or an injured ungulate that cannot escape. The bighorn sheep prepares for its own breeding season as autumn arrives. After spending the summer in bachelor groups, they now approach the female herds with growing interest. Initial interactions between males begin with ritual headbutting, in which their giant curved horns clash without yet using their full power. The horns of an adult ram can weigh more than 13.6 kilograms, representing approximately 10% of its total body weight. Unlike deer antlers, which are shed annually, these horns grow continuously throughout the animal's life. They create annual growth rings similar to those of trees. The struggle between males of equivalent status generates a sound that echoes for miles in the mountain valleys. Early snowfalls reveal movement routes of Yellowstone's wildlife that were previously invisible. Game trails become sharp as snow accumulates everywhere except on these paths frequented by footsteps. These trails often represent optimal movement corridors through the complex relief. They follow contour lines that minimize energy expenditure and offer escape options should a predator appear. Mule deer intensify their feeding as autumn advances. They shift from the succulent vegetation of summer to drier, woodier shrubs, which will constitute their winter diet. Their specialized stomach, home to a complex microbiota, helps break down plant materials that most other mammals cannot digest. This adaptation allows them to extract maximum nutrition from apparently poor food sources, such as sagebrush and bitterbrush. The prehensile upper lip of the mule deer allows it to precisely select the most nutritious parts. Unlike their white-tailed relatives, mule deer pluck specific leaves and parts with delicacy. This optimizes nutrient intake and minimizes energy expenditure. The trumpeter swans that raised their cygnets in Yellowstone's protected waters now prepare to migrate to lower areas. There, water sources remain unfrozen during the winter. Young swans born in spring must develop enough physical condition for flight. Their massive body requires a considerable takeoff runway and consumes a lot of energy to maintain flight. Parents and young usually stay together throughout the winter. This family bond provides additional security in the difficult months ahead. Spider species also experience their own autumn dynamics. Many reach maturity and their maximum size at the end of summer, and egg-laying occurs before heavy frosts. Some species create special egg sacs with insulating properties to protect the offspring. Others produce eggs containing glycerol as a natural antifreeze. The characteristic woolly bear caterpillar becomes a common sight in autumn as it seeks shelter to winter. Popular wisdom suggests its color bands can predict the severity of winter. These beings can survive after being frozen, thanks to special proteins in their tissues that prevent the typical cellular damage caused by frost. Yellowstone Lake is the scene of spectacular autumn congregations. Canada geese cluster in preparation for their journey south. Their characteristic honking creates a continuous sound background as they feed busily on aquatic plants. They need to build up the necessary fuel reserves for their long-distance flights. These pre-migratory gatherings can reach thousands of individuals and transform bays into noisy bird conferences. As autumn progresses, the human presence in Yellowstone gradually diminishes. Most of the park's lodging facilities close their doors in late October. Roads become prone to being blocked by snow, and only the most tenacious visitors remain. This reduction in activity allows wildlife to reclaim spaces occupied by tourism. Bear tracks on fresh snow become more common as the winter dormancy approaches. Bears concentrate their final efforts on feeding before retreating to their dens. Young bears preparing for their first hibernation show a special frenzy in searching for food. This is due to their lack of fat reserves and experience. Choosing a den is a vital decision for the hibernating bear. Grizzlies usually dig their burrows on north-facing slopes at high altitudes. There, snow accumulates early and stays all winter, providing a crucial insulation layer. The effort invested in building the shelter depends on the predicted severity of the winter. The cottonwoods that grow along watercourses create some of autumn's most impressive visual compositions. Their vibrant yellow foliage often reflects perfectly on calm waters. These trees play a fundamental ecological role in the riparian ecosystem. Their root system stabilizes banks against erosion, while their branches provide nesting environments for birds. The branches also serve as perching platforms for the bald eagle. The fall of leaves in autumn returns essential nutrients to the soil through the process of decomposition. Fungi and bacteria disintegrate fallen vegetation, transforming complex biological structures into basic components. This recycling system represents one of nature's most efficient processes. Nothing is wasted as energy and matter circulate in the ecosystem in continuous transformation. Yellowstone prepares to close the circle and face the rigors of winter once again. As autumn nights lengthen, opportunities to admire the aurora borealis increase. These ethereal light displays are the result of the interaction between solar particles with Earth's magnetic field and atmosphere. Yellowstone's relative isolation from light pollution makes it an excellent site for observing auroras. Curtains of green, purple, and occasionally red light create unforgettable experiences for lucky observers. The first significant ice formations appear on the banks of streams and rivers when autumn temperatures drop below freezing. These crystalline structures grow from the shore, creating delicate patterns that change daily with the temperature. The sound of flowing water is muffled as ice limits the channel, creating an acoustic signal announcing the advance of the season. When the last days of autumn yield to winter's dominion, the great cycle prepares to begin anew. seeds lie dormant under the earth and snow. Animals adapt to winter survival, and the landscape enters a phase of apparent repose that hides the biological processes continuing beneath the surface. The wheel of the seasons continues its eternal turn in Yellowstone, the first national park in the United States and one of its largest living laboratories. For more than 150 years, this place has served as a refuge for wildlife. The park also functions as a showcase for visitors. This dual purpose generates inevitable tensions when seeking a balance between conservation and accessibility. Scientific research must be balanced with recreational use, and the values of wilderness with human well-being. The park represents a continuous experiment in how humanity can live in harmony with the natural world. The human footprint in Yellowstone is relatively small compared to surrounding lands. However, our presence continues to generate a domino effect on the entire ecosystem. Roads, fragment habitats, and alter animal movement patterns. Infrastructure concentrates human activity in sensitive areas. Even wildlife watching can distort natural behaviors when visitors approach too closely. Nonetheless, the park also showcases conservation success stories that would have been impossible without human intervention. The return of the wolf in the mid-1990s restored a key predator that had been absent for decades. This triggered trophic cascades that helped improve the health and biodiversity of the ecosystem. Careful management has allowed for the recovery of populations of grizzly bears, bison, trumpeter swans, and other species. All of them were once in danger of extinction in the region. Scientific research conducted within the boundaries of Yellowstone has expanded human understanding in multiple aspects. Advances have been achieved from microbiology to ecosystem dynamics. Extremophile bacteria discovered in the thermal features revolutionized the study of DNA through heat-resistant enzymes. These are currently used in laboratories worldwide. The reintroduction of the wolf has provided unprecedented opportunities to study the predator-prey relationship in an intact ecosystem. Perhaps most importantly, Yellowstone demonstrates the value of restraint. It is about the conscious choice not to urbanize and not to radically alter landscapes that function under natural laws. These ecosystems provide practical benefits through ecological services. They also provide less tangible, but equally important, spiritual and cultural values. The true measure of Yellowstone's success may lie in its ability to inspire awe for the natural world. Generations of visitors have experienced moments of consciousness change upon encountering wildlife, or by gaining a humble perspective before the grand scale of natural processes. As climate change alters temperature and precipitation patterns, Yellowstone faces new challenges. Species adapted to a specific season may see their life cycles desynchronized. Winters are shortening, affecting both wildlife and the availability of water resources for agriculture. The park's intact state provides important resilience, but it cannot escape global changes. In the face of global environmental challenges, Yellowstone stands as a warning and, at the same time, a hope. It is a reminder of what we can lose due to neglect. It also shows what can still be preserved or restored through conscious management. The seasons will continue their eternal turn here, but their rhythm will increasingly reflect human decisions. The future of this landscape depends not only on internal management, but on the collective decisions of humanity. It is how we will relate to the natural world that nurtures us all. Have you been captivated by the wildlife and seasons of Yellowstone? Click like and share your favorite animal in the comments. If you wish to support the conservation of this natural wonder, don't forget to share this video with your friends. Be sure to click the bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming stories about the wild world. Until then, keep waiting for other adventures in the midst of nature. Amen. Before humans conquered the frozen lands of the north, before science understood life in the merciless cold, there already existed a world where every day was a test of survival. Amid snowy forests, icy mountains, and the cold seas of Alaska, creatures must battle snowstorms, hunger, and predators silently lurking in the shadows. Welcome to frozen Alaska, surviving the most extreme cold on the planet. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to give us more motivation to keep creating quality content. Don't forget to comment below and tell us what you thought of the video, and let us know where you're watching from so we can discuss it together. Let's begin. When winter lays siege to Alaska, the land transforms into a strange and hostile place. Temperatures drop so low that breath crystallizes instantly in the air. The sun, if it appears at all, only floats low on the horizon like a faint and distant mercury of warmth, casting long bluish shadows over an infinite white. This is more than cold. It is a season that tests every living being to its most extreme limits. The snow does not just fall. It attacks with the fury of Arctic winds that can reach hurricane force. It sculpts the landscape into fantastic mounds and creates whiteout blizzard conditions that can disorient even the most experienced wildlife. In this crystallized desert, predators become more desperate, more cunning, and relentless. The balance between hunter and prey shifts abruptly as prey struggle to find food under layers of snow that can exceed 6 meters in thickness. Every calorie burned in the search for sustenance is a gamble against death itself. Here, in this land of extremes, winter is not just a season, but a tireless judge that examines every adaptation, every instinct, and every will to exist. Those who pass the test earn a place among nature's most extraordinary survivors. The polar bear emerges from its den like a ghost. Its massive body shifts with surprising grace over the frozen landscape. This apex predator, which can weigh up to 6 first months of winter in a state of lethargy but remaining in motion. It subsists thanks to fat reserves accumulated during the previous year's hunting season. Now, with her cubs at her side, a mother faces the greatest challenge of her life. She stands motionless at the edge of an ice floe. Her black nose tracks the air for the scent that is synonymous with life, the seal. Her hearing, 14 times more sensitive than a human's, can detect the breathing of a seal through a meter of solid ice. Every fiber of her body is concentrated on this moment, an opportunity that might not repeat itself for days. Beneath the ice, a ringed seal rests in its breathing hole, unaware of the death lurking above. The patience of the mother bear is legendary. She will wait for hours, as still as a statue, until the perfect moment to strike. When that instant arrives, her colossal claws break the ice with the force of a sledgehammer, dragging the prey to the surface in one explosive movement. Her cubs watch and learn, absorbing the lessons that will decide if they live through their first winter. They still depend on mother's milk, but they must begin to understand the brutal calculus of Arctic survival. Every successful hunt by their mother will decide not only their immediate subsistence, but their ability to learn necessary skills. The polar bear's adaptations are near miraculous. Its fur appears white, but is actually transparent, acting as optical fibers that conduct ultraviolet light toward its black underlying skin. Its giant paws, up to 30 centimeters wide, function as snowshoes and as oars, allowing it to move over ice and in water with equal efficiency. The thick layer of accumulated fat insulates it from lethal cold. However, even this perfectly adapted predator faces unprecedented challenges. The ice on which it depends is increasingly unreliable, forming later and breaking up earlier each year. The longer swimming distances between flows test even its amazing endurance. The foundations of its existence tremble beneath its own colossal claws. As the polar bear disappears into the swirling snow, another drama unfolds in the depths of the Alaskan boreal forest. Here, where firs and spruces form a natural barrier against Arctic winds, the woodland caribou moves like a phantom. This is not the massive migration most associate with caribou. These are forest dwellers, small herds that have adapted to life among trees instead of the open tundra. Their hooves, wide and concave, act as natural snowshoes, allowing them to walk on layers of snow that would trap other animals. The clicking sound they produce with every step functions as a communication system. It helps herd members maintain contact, even in the worst storms. A male scrapes at the snow with his hooves, searching for lichen and frozen grass that will keep him alive. His antlers, shed just a few weeks ago, give him a strangely fragile appearance, but he no longer spends energy on displays of dominance. Now, survival is his sole concern. His breath creates great clouds of vapor in the 40-degree below zero air as he moves methodically along his feeding route. Every movement is calculated to conserve energy. Unlike their tundra relatives who migrate hundreds of kilometers to escape the extreme weather, the woodland caribou has learned to adapt to winter instead of fleeing from it. The herd advances through the forest in single file. Each individual steps exactly in the footprint of the one before. This behavior, known as cratering, creates an efficient path through deep snow and helps the herd save valuable calories. The leader changes frequently, sharing the exhausting task of breaking the trail. Wolves prowl at the limits of their perception. These intelligent predators understand that winter weakens even the strongest caribou. The eternal dance between predator and prey becomes more tense, as every mistake means death, not just for that individual, but possibly for the offspring that will not be born if their parents do not survive until spring. The caribou's winter coat is a marvel of natural engineering. The layer of hollow guard hair traps warm air near the skin, while a dense layer of underfur provides additional insulation. Their nostrils are uniquely structured to warm incoming air before it reaches the lungs. Thus, they prevent tissue damage from breathing air so cold it could freeze exposed skin in minutes. When darkness envelops the forest with the weight of a heavy blanket, the caribou herd lies down in sheltered areas among the trees. They wake every few hours to feed. They follow an ancient rhythm that maximizes opportunities to find food while minimizing exposure to predators and the lethal cold. While the herd of woodland caribou moves silently among the snow-covered spruces, there are other eyes watching them from a distance. Not from above like the snowy owl. Not from the edge of the ice like the polar bear, but from the very shadows between the trees, where silver-grey bodies almost blend with the snow, the rock, and the cold blue light of the Alaskan winter. They are the Alaskan grey wolves, the predatory ghosts of the north. They do not need to roar to dominate this land. They dominate through patience, memory, and near-perfect coordination. A lone wolf is already a fearsome predator, but a pack represents the true force of wild nature. In Alaska, a pack usually has 6 or 7 members, but it can be larger if food is abundant. Each pack is a family, a hunting unit, a survival network bound by howls, scents, and subtle body signals. Across the snow, their tracks stretch in a near-perfect line. Each individual steps in the track of the one before, saving energy in a world where every step consumes precious calories. They can travel dozens of kilometers in a day, crossing the taiga, frozen valleys, snowy riverbeds, and exposed slopes in search of prey. For them, Alaska is not a vast and infinite land. It is a living map, memorized through the scent of caribou, the tracks of moose, the faint sound of a straggling calf, and the wind direction carrying information about life or death. Their target is rarely the strongest. Wolves do not hunt with brute force alone. They hunt through trial and error. A pack can closely follow a group of caribou for hours, even days, without rushing the attack. They observe how the group moves, identifying who walks slower, who is injured, who is young, or who is old. In this unforgiving world, the smallest weakness can become the signal that the predator interprets. When the hunt begins on the tundra, it is not always a short, explosive race. It is a calculated pursuit. Some wolves separate the prey from the main group. Others run in parallel, pushing it toward areas of deep snow, slippery riverbanks, or rugged terrain where the prey's speed is reduced. If the prey is too strong, the pack may desist, disappearing into the forest as if they had never existed. But if the prey begins to slow down, if its breathing is heavy, if its steps sink deeper into the snow, the circle closes. One wolf strikes from the flank, another cuts the path ahead, a third presses from behind, forcing the prey to constantly change direction. In that instant, the hunt is no longer a matter of speed, but of exhaustion. In the land where winter can seem eternal, the winner is not always the strongest, but the one who can endure the longest. However, the life of the grey wolf is not simple either. A failed hunt can mean the entire pack loses a vital energy source. A caribou kick, moose hooves, or a crash on the ice can turn a predator into a straggler. In winter, when food is scarce and temperatures drop to lethal levels, even apex predators live on the fragile border between strength and starvation. There are days when they catch nothing. There are nights when the howls do not sound like a declaration of victory, but like a signal to maintain contact between members who have scattered seeking trails. The wolf's howl echoes in frozen valleys, bounces off snowy slopes, and blends with the aurora-filled sky. For a human, it may be the sound of untamed nature. But for the wolf, it is language. It helps members reunite, warns other packs to stay away from their territory, and reinforces bonds within the family. The wolf's role in the Alaskan ecosystem goes far beyond the image of a fearsome hunter. It is a force of natural selection. By hunting the weak, old, sick, or young individuals, they contribute to maintaining the health of prey populations. Their presence changes how caribou, moose, and Dall sheep move, feed, and choose their shelters. When a wolf appears in a valley, the prey cannot remain too long in one place. This allows vegetation time to recover, creating space for birds, rodents, and insects to thrive. However, like many other large predators, the Alaskan grey wolf also finds itself in the midst of human controversy. For some communities, they are the symbol of the wild and ecological balance. As deep night falls, the pack disappears once more among the dark trunks. They leave nothing but thin tracks in the snow and a howl that fades into the cold wind. In a place where life is always paid for with alertness, speed, and instinct, the grey wolf is not just a predator, it is the silent soul of wild Alaska. And in the north, where winter can crush any mistake, those grey ghosts continue their path, slowly, with perseverance, and never truly disappearing. The night belongs now to other hunters. high in the forest canopy, where the aurora borealis creates a dome of ever-changing colored light, the snowy owl begins its patrol. This magnificent bird, with its sharp golden eyes and a wingspan of nearly 1.5 meters, has moved south from the far Arctic when prey becomes scarce in its usual hunting grounds. The owl remains motionless atop a dead fir. Its white plumage makes it nearly invisible among the snow-covered branches. Unlike most owls, which hunt primarily by sound, the snowy owl relies heavily on its exceptional vision. Its yellow eyes can detect the movement of a lemming under the snow from a distance of over 800 meters. Beneath the layer of snow, an entire ecosystem remains active. Mice, voles, and lemmings move through tunnels in the lower layer of the snow. This hidden world is the owl's hunting ground. Having learned to decipher the subtle signals that reveal the location of its prey, a tiny, almost imperceptible movement catches its attention. The owl's head turns with mechanical precision. Its facial disc concentrates sound waves like a natural radar. It launches from its perch in absolute silence. Its feathers, with a special structure, emit no sound as they cut through the air. Its talons, powerful enough to crush the skull of a hare, pierce through the snow with surgical precision. The hunt ends in a matter of seconds, but locating the prey may have required hours of patient observation. This is the reality of winter predation in Alaska. Long periods of waiting interrupted by moments of explosive action. Success in the snowy owl's hunt directly affects its breeding plans for the following year. In years of abundance, it can lay up to 11 eggs. In years of scarcity, it may not reproduce at all. This remarkable ability to adjust its reproductive output based on available resources is one of the key adaptations that allow its species to thrive in such an unpredictable environment. Its presence here is both a blessing and a warning. Snowy owls only appear in southern Alaska when their primary prey in the high Arctic suffers a severe decline. Their arrival indicates a disturbance in the far north, but their hunting prowess helps control rodent populations, which might otherwise explode numerically. As the owl returns to its perch with prey in its talons, it integrates into the complex web of relationships that defines winter survival in Alaska. Every successful hunt, every failed attempt, and every adaptation to extreme conditions contributes to the great drama of life that persists in one of the most challenging environments on Earth. From a winter den on a high mountain slope, a grizzly mother emerges. She squints against the blinding light of the spring sun. She has not eaten in 7 months, subsisting entirely on her fat reserves. During this time, she has nursed her 2 cubs, born in the darkest days of winter. Her body weight has been reduced by nearly 40%. Now she must mobilize the energy necessary to lead her children into a world full of lethal challenges. The cubs, born blind and helpless only 4 months ago, now scramble and play around their mother's massive body. Each weighs barely 9 kilograms. These small balls of fur and energy are completely unaware of the dangers surrounding them. Their mother's vigilance will decide if they reach their first birthday. The bear descends the slope carefully, clinging to rocks with her enormous claws. The gravel is slippery from the snowmelt. Every few steps she stops to scan the landscape. Her alert sense of smell searches for scents that might indicate an opportunity or a danger. Her hearing is sensitive enough to detect the footsteps of another bear a mile away. She processes the complex symphony of sounds filling the spring air. At the foot of the slope runs a stream swollen by the thaw. The water is brown with mud and sediment. There, she will teach her cubs one of the first vital lessons, how to fish. But first, she must feed herself. The sedges growing on the banks are the first fresh plant food she has tasted in months. Her digestive system, dormant during the winter, slowly begins to restart. The cubs observe their mother's every move. They instinctively understand that their survival depends on learning from her example. As she shows them how to flip stones to find insects and larvae, they try to imitate her actions with their small paws. But spring in Alaska brings dangers that go far beyond the simple challenge of finding food. Male grizzly bears, emerging from their winter shelters, represent a lethal threat to the cubs. These colossal animals do not see the cubs obstacles preventing mating with the mother. The mother bear must navigate a complex social environment where an ill-timed encounter can mean the death of her offspring. Therefore, she leads her cubs toward higher ground. She moves them away from the valley floors where larger bears usually travel. Her movements are purposeful but cautious. Every decision is based on the need to find food while maintaining the safety of her litter. The abundance of spring comes at a price: increased competition. There is greater aggression from other bears, also desperately seeking to recover from winter. When the bear family moves through a meadow, their presence causes a chain reaction. Ground squirrels dive into their burrows, and their alarm calls warn other small mammals. Birds abandon their foraging to harass the bears from a safe distance. Their hoarse croaks add to the noisy chorus of spring. However, despite being a danger to smaller beings, the mother bear fulfills an essential ecological function. Her massive paws and powerful claws churn the earth as she digs for roots and rodents. This process facilitates plant growth. Her droppings deposit nutrients into the landscape, fertilizing the very meadows she traverses. The salmon she will catch at the end of the season will transport marine nutrients inland. This process enriches the forest ecosystem kilometers away from the nearest stream. The cubs become stronger and more coordinated each day. Their initial vulnerability gives way to the confidence and strength that will turn them into apex predators. Nonetheless, for now, they remain entirely dependent on the wisdom and protection of their mother. They live in a world where beauty and danger coexist in every shadow and at every bend in the road. While the grizzly bear family deals with the complexity of spring survival in the mountains, another drama unfolds on Alaska's rugged coasts. Here, where the Pacific Ocean meets the continent with thundering force, stellar sea lions arrive at traditional rookeries their species has used for thousands of years. A giant male weighing nearly a ton glides from the violent waves onto a rocky ledge with surprising grace. His massive body, which would be clumsy on land, moves with agility in the water, propelled by powerful front flippers that act as oars and wings in the marine environment. Water drains from his thick fur as he positions himself among hundreds of other sea lions congregated for the most important event of their annual cycle, the breeding season. This is a gathering unparalleled in the natural world. The din is overwhelming, an uninterrupted series of barks, roars, and bellows that can be heard kilometers away. The scent is equally intense, a mix of salty air, fish, and the musky smell of hundreds of large mammals crowded into a relatively small space. The visual spectacle is astonishing. Colossal males of up to 1,000 kilograms share the space with slender females and playful pups. All this happens against a backdrop of crashing waves and majestic sea cliffs. The appearance of the dominant male marks the start of a complex social ritual that will decide his reproductive success for the year. He must establish and defend a territory against other males while attracting females to his chosen spot. Combats between rival males are spectacular displays of strength and determination. Alpha males rear up on their hind flippers and lunge at each other with devastating force. His territory, a block of rock barely 9 square meters, becomes his entire world for the following weeks. He cannot leave to hunt or venture into cool waters, even when the spring sun beats hard against his dark fur. He must survive on fat reserves accumulated during months of feeding in the rich Pacific Ocean. Meanwhile, he maintains a constant watch against young males attempting to challenge his dominance. Females arrive in waves, approaching the rocks to give birth to the pups conceived the previous year. Each female represents a potential mating opportunity, but also a responsibility. The male must protect not only his territory, but also the females and pups living in it from the aggression of other males and the constant threat of predators. Orcas patrol nearby waters with their characteristic black and white silhouettes, moving like ghosts beneath the surface. These intelligent predators well understand the predictable patterns in sea lion behavior and plan their attacks to coincide with moments of greatest vulnerability. The transition from water to land, or vice versa, creates opportunities that orcas have learned to exploit with lethal efficacy. The male's colossal size, which makes him fearsome in territorial disputes, also makes him prone to overheating on warm spring days. He must balance the need to maintain his position with keeping his body cool to survive. He fans himself with his hind flippers and positions his body to catch any available breeze, but his options are limited by the social constraints of colony life. Over time, the group's energy dynamics become more complex. Successful males can attract harems of 20 females or more, while less dominant ones are forced to retreat to the fringes or even the water, where they're more vulnerable to predation. The constant social tension, combined with the physical demands of territorial defense and mating, pushes these magnificent animals to the limit of their biological capacity. Yet, despite its apparent chaos, the colony functions under ancient rules evolved over millions of years. The rhythm of comings and goings, the patterns of territorial defense, and the complex negotiations between males and females contribute to maximizing reproductive success and minimizing energy expenditure for this extraordinary congregation. Meanwhile, high above the rookeries where sea lions gather, the mountains and valleys of the Alaskan interior offer their own spring spectacle. Here, on meadows still covered in snow but lit by newly sprouted wildflowers, the Dall sheep moves with the confidence of a species perfectly adapted to vertical terrain that would challenge even an expert climber. The ram, with his enormous curved horns identifying him as an adult male, traverses a cliff that drops to a valley hundreds of meters below. His hooves, hard as stone, yet capable of gripping the smallest ledges, carry him across terrain that seems to defy the laws of physics. Each step is made with mathematical precision, and his body automatically adjusts for balance and leverage, reflecting millions of years of evolutionary refinement. Spring brings both opportunities and challenges to the highlands where the Dall sheep dwells. The thaw reveals fresh grass and herbs that will nourish the herd to recover from winter privations. But it also makes the terrain more dangerous. Rockfalls caused by freeze-thaw cycles create risks that even these sure-footed animals must navigate carefully. Avalanche zones, frozen through winter, now become death traps where one wrong step can trigger a slide capable of burying an entire herd. The ram joins a group of bachelor males, animals that have spent the winter in a loose relationship, sharing the benefits of group vigilance and avoiding energy expenditure on territorial competition. Their relationship is complex, based on a hierarchy established through ritual combat during the previous autumn's rut. The size and curvature of each animal's horns provide an immediate visual indicator of age and dominant status, helping to minimize actual conflict at a time when energy conservation is crucial. These extraordinary horns, which can weigh up to 13 kilograms on an adult ram, are not just status symbols, but essential survival tools. In combat, rams back up and then charge forward at speeds of up to 32 kilometers per hour. Their skulls and horns clash with a sound like thunder that can be heard for kilometers. The force of these impacts would be fatal for most animals. But the Dall sheep has developed specially thickened skulls and shock-absorbing structures that allow them to survive collisions, generating force equivalent to a small car. As the group ascends the slope, they remain alert to predators that consider these peaks their hunting territory. Golden eagles glide overhead, their sharp sight searching for lambs that stray too far from the group's safety. Wolves, though they primarily live in the valleys, sometimes venture into the sheep's habitat, using their intelligence and pack coordination to attempt what lone predators cannot, pushing the sheep off the cliffs that are their final refuge. The ram's ability to detect danger goes beyond simple vigilance. His hearing is sensitive enough to distinguish between the sound of a falling stone and the step of a predator. His sense of smell can detect the presence of a wolf more than a kilometer away when conditions are favorable. And most importantly, his vision is among the sharpest in the animal kingdom, capable of detecting movement at distances imperceptible to a human observer. The terrain that defies climbers is quite simply home to these prodigious animals. They rest on ledges barely wide enough to hold their bodies, seemingly indifferent to precipices that would cause vertigo even in experienced mountaineers. They leap across crevices that appear impassable. Their powerful legs propel them through space with a grace that makes such feats look effortless. However, despite these remarkable adaptations to life on vertical terrain, the Dall sheep faces challenges that even its extraordinary skills cannot overcome. Climate change is altering the high mountain environment in ways that disrupt rules established over millennia. Early snowmelt changes the growth rhythm of vegetation, which can cause a mismatch between the timing of peak nutritional availability and the period when sheep need the highest quality food. Warmer temperatures allow vegetation to grow at higher altitudes. This can reduce the area of clear ground that sheep prefer and create corridors that facilitate predator access to their traditional habitat. The sun rises in the Alaskan sky. Its rays reflect off snowfields and granite peaks in a play of light and shadow that changes minute by minute. Spring in Alaska is a season of transitions, of opportunities seized and challenges overcome, of life forms expanding the limits of the possible in the eternal quest to survive and reproduce. In Alaska, summer does not arrive as a gentle warming, but as an explosion of life so intense it feels almost frantic. The sun, which was absent or barely present for months, now refuses to set. It creates a landscape bathed in eternal golden light that transforms the entire ecosystem into a 24-hour process of production, feeding, and reproduction. This is not just summer. It is the brief period in which Alaska reveals its true biological wealth. Rivers overflow with salmon returning from the ocean to spawn. Succulent shrubs bend under the weight of fruits that will feed countless animals during the winter. Cubs born with the awakening of spring grow at an astonishing rate as they prepare for their first challenge of winter survival. However, abundance comes with its own set of challenges. The very wealth of resources generates fierce competition. Predators converge on feeding zones where prey concentrate in unprecedented numbers. Constant daylight alters natural rhythms and behaviors. The short growing season means that every day, every hour, and every moment with favorable conditions must be exploited to the fullest. In the streams and rivers that meander through the Alaskan wilderness, one of nature's most extraordinary journeys reaches its climax, the Pacific salmon. After years in the ocean strengthening itself on marine nutrients, now returns exactly to the same stream where it was born. It is a feat of navigation that scientists still struggle to fully understand. The sockeye salmon, its body transformed from silver to bright red and its head to green, battles a current that would defy even a professional swimmer. Its flesh, once firm and fatty from ocean feeding, begins to decay as its body diverts all available resources toward reproduction. This is a journey without return, a final mission that will end in death but ensure the continuity of its genetic lineage. Every obstacle in the stream becomes a monumental challenge. The waterfalls the salmon must jump seem insurmountable, but the fish launches itself time and again. Its powerful tail propels it through the air, defying gravity. Many attempts fail, and the exhausted fish falls back into the current. But perseverance usually wins when brute force is not enough. The salmon's body undergoes drastic changes during this upstream journey. Its digestive system stops functioning completely. It will never eat again. Its jaws elongate and develop aggressive-looking hooks that it will use not for feeding, but to fight other males for the right to spawn. its skin thickens and scales set deeper, creating a kind of armor for the battles ahead. In traditional spawning grounds used for thousands of years, the appearance of the salmon creates a spectacle of life and death that attracts predators from across the region. Grizzly bears wade into the streams, snatching fish out of the water with their colossal claws. Bald eagles perch in nearby trees, diving to capture salmon in shallow waters, or feeding on carcasses lying on the banks. The female, heavy with eggs, uses her tail to excavate a nest in the gravel bed of the stream. This nest, built carefully in areas with optimal flow and oxygen levels for embryonic development, represents the pinnacle of her life. The male, with his hooked jaw and humped back giving him an almost monstrous appearance, fights fiercely for the right to fertilize those eggs. The battles are brutal but brief, and the winner gets the chance to release clouds of sperm over the newly deposited eggs. In a few days, both the male and female will die, and their bodies will provide nutrients to the river ecosystem, contributing to the sustenance of the next generation. The death of the salmon is not an end, but a transformation. Its remains, rich in marine nutrients, will be dragged into the forest by bears and other scavengers, transporting nitrogen and phosphorus from the ocean into the heart of the land. Trees growing near salmon streams grow faster and reach larger sizes than those without access to these nutrients. The very forests that shade the streams depend on the salmon's final sacrifice for their growth and productivity. Eggs buried in the gravel endure the winter protected by ice and snow. Developing slowly in the dark months until spring triggers their emergence as fry. These tiny fish still carry the yolk sac that will nourish them in their first weeks of life. Some will survive to continue the cycle, but many will serve as food for other stream dwellers. Their sacrifice contributes to the complex web of relationships that defines Alaska's aquatic ecosystems. While salmon capture the attention of predators in the rivers, coastal waters offer their own summer spectacle. Here, where the Gulf of Alaska meets the North Pacific, humpback whales arrive after a journey of over 5,000 kilometers. They depart from tropical breeding grounds where they've spent months without rest or food. The whale, 13 meters long and weighing nearly 40 tons, moves through the water with a grace that seems to defy the laws of physics. Its enormous pectoral fins, the longest of any whale species, cut through the water as it begins to feed with the urgency caused by months of fasting. Its body weight has decreased considerably during the breeding season. Now it must make up for lost time in the short Alaskan summer, when food is abundant. The humpback whale's feeding technique is one of nature's most spectacular hunting strategies. operating alone or in coordinated groups. The whales dive beneath schools of herring or krill and expel blasts of air while swimming in an upward spiral. This bubble net creates a cylindrical wall of bubbles that confuses and concentrates the prey. This allows them to be captured with ease. The pleats of the whale's throat, which are normally contracted like an accordion, expand drastically when it lunges upward through the center of the net. With its mouth wide open, thousands of liters of water and an infinity of small fish flood its oral cavity, which then closes. Meanwhile, the whale uses its gigantic tongue to expel the water through the baleen plates. The fish remain trapped behind the baleen, ready to be devoured in a mouthful that can contain several hundred kilograms of food. This strategy requires extreme temporal precision and coordination. This is especially true when several whales collaborate. The lead whale must calculate the depth and density of the prey school, while other members must synchronize their movements to maintain the integrity of the bubble net. The entire process, from the initial dive to the final lunge at the surface, can take only a few minutes, but it requires planning and execution that demonstrate exceptional intelligence and communication skills. The presence of whales in Alaskan waters has impacts that go beyond their own feeding success. Their colossal body serves as a platform for many smaller marine organisms, including barnacles that attach to their skin and feed on plankton. It consists of those complex sounds that can be heard for kilometers underwater. These songs, unique in each population and changing annually, serve functions that scientists are still trying to fully understand. They can be territorial signals, mating displays, or sophisticated forms of social communication that transmit information about food sources or dangers. The whale's ability to navigate across thousands of kilometers rivals human technology. By combining magnetic field perception and astronomical orientation, the humpback returns to the same feeding ground year after year, sometimes just a few hundred meters from previous season's locations. As summer progresses, the whale feeds almost continuously, consuming up to 1,300 kilograms of food a day. This massive consumption is necessary not only to recover lost physical condition, but to generate energy reserves for the coming year. The short Alaskan summer must provide enough resources to fuel a whole year of one of the most energy-demanding lifestyles in the animal kingdom. The whale's feeding success has a direct impact on the marine ecosystems of the North Pacific. By consuming large quantities of small fish and krill, humpbacks help control populations that could grow large enough to deplete their own sources of livelihood. Autumn arrives in Alaska like a master painter working with a palette of fire. The landscape transforms overnight, passing from summer green to vibrant patches of red, yellow, and orange that seem to glow with their own light. But this beauty carries a message of urgency. Winter is approaching, and every creature that wishes to survive must prepare for the coming test. The air grows crisper with the promise of frost. Every breath creates small clouds of vapor as reminders of what lurks ahead. The sun, which was high in the sky for months, now begins its descent toward the horizon. It recovers the rhythm of day and night that had disappeared in midsummer. The first snows cover the highest peaks, and day by day, advance down the slopes like a slow-motion white avalanche. They will eventually bury the entire landscape. This is the season of harvest, of fattening, of final preparations for the most difficult time of year. Plants rush to complete their reproductive cycles before the frost ends their growing season. Animals enter a feeding frenzy that will decide if they possess enough energy reserves to survive the months ahead. This urgency is felt in the air, a sense that time is running out and every opportunity must be taken. However, autumn is also a season of spectacular abundance. Succulent shrubs bend under the weight of fruit clusters that represent concentrated energy sources. Salmon migrations continue to offer protein-rich opportunities for any predator skilled enough to exploit them. The last heat of the year activates behaviors and migrations that create some of nature's most extraordinary spectacles. Deep in the vast forests of the Alaskan interior, where spruce and birch create a mosaic of green and gold, a female black bear moves with determination. Her massive body, which looked thin months ago, now carries the layers of fat that will sustain her through the winter. But her preparation is far from complete. The brief window of autumn opportunity demands continuous attention to survival. She stops before a service berry bush whose branches are laden with dark purple fruits. It is one of nature's most concentrated energy sources. Her keen sense of smell detects the perfect balance of sugars and nutrients that make these berries invaluable. With surprising delicacy for such a large animal, she uses her lips and tongue to pluck the fruits. She consumes hundreds of them in each feeding session. The bear's autumnal behavior is governed by a biological clock that measures the accumulation of the necessary fat reserves. She must increase by several hundred kilograms before retreating to her den. She turns her body into a living storage system that will provide energy for hibernation. If she is pregnant, this energy will also serve to nurse her cubs in the winter months when there is no food. Her feeding strategy demonstrates remarkable intelligence and memory. She moves between food sources following their ripening cycles. She coordinates her visits to maximize nutrient availability. Blueberry patches visited early on give way to cranberry wetlands as the season progresses. These are followed by rose hips and late elderberries that provide the last calories before the snow. But fruits are not her only source of food in autumn. She tears apart rotting logs to access larvae and insects. The high protein content of insects complements the carbohydrates from the fruits. Her powerful claws allow her to dig for roots and hunt ground squirrels. The squirrels are fat and nutritious thanks to their own autumn preparation. The bears' feeding activities have profound effects on the forest ecosystem. By moving between fruit patches, she unintentionally sows seeds over extensive areas. Her digestive system improves the germination capacity of many plants. Her excavations churn the soil and create opportunities for the growth of new plants. Even her winter shelter will eventually become a place where vegetation grows better. Preparing for hibernation consists of more than just accumulating fat reserves. She must also find or create a suitable den. It must be a place that remains isolated throughout the winter and provides sufficient ventilation. The choice of this site is one of the most important decisions she will make. A poorly chosen shelter can mean death by exposure or suffocation. The black bear embodies the essence of the autumn survival strategy. It is the transformation of seasonal abundance into the energy stores needed to survive scarcity. Her movements in the forest create disturbances that trigger responses throughout the ecosystem. Scavengers follow her at a safe distance with the hope of taking advantage of any remains. The cycle of life in Alaska continues its relentless rhythm toward winter. While the black bear concentrates on terrestrial resources, coastal waters offer their own autumn spectacle. Here, where the mixing of currents creates rich marine environments, orcas move through waters teeming with prey. The pod of orcas is composed of a leader who's the oldest female and her multi-generational family. It exhibits hunting strategies transmitted from generation to generation and perfected over decades. These apex predators represent one of the most intelligent and adaptable hunting forces in the ocean. The matriarch, over 60 years old, guides her family through waters where salmon migrations create unique opportunities. Their echolocation capability is more sophisticated than any man-made sonar system. It allows them to locate schools of fish kilometers away and track their movements with near supernatural precision. The pod's hunting strategy reflects both individual skill and group coordination. Different family members perform specific roles to corral prey into compact groups. Orcas communicate continuously during the hunt using a complex vocabulary of clicks, whistles, and calls. They coordinate their movements with absolute precision. One technique used by this group is cooperative wave washing. Several orcas work together to create waves that sweep seals or sea lions off ice floes. This behavior requires temporal precision and coordination. It also demands an understanding of physics that allows them to predict how their movements will affect water dynamics. Returning salmon provide high-energy food. They help whales accumulate fat reserves for the scarcer winter months. However, orcas are opportunistic hunters, and their intelligence allows them to take advantage of any available prey. They can hunt seals, sea lions, small dolphins, or even other whale species. They adjust their strategy to the specific challenges posed by each type of prey. The pod's social structure brings advantages beyond cooperative hunting. Elder females act as repositories of ecological knowledge. They can make the difference between life and death for younger members. They remember where and when food is likely to be found. They know how to navigate dangerous areas and how to react to unusual environmental conditions. The orca's brain is the foundation for cognitive abilities such as self-awareness and problem-solving. Each pod develops its own family dialect. These unique sounds help maintain group cohesion even when individuals are separated. Autumn preparation also extends to the highest peaks of Alaska. There, the mountain goat moves across vertical and dangerous terrain. Over the cliffs, these animals show extraordinary adaptations for life in the vertical world. The mountain goat possesses a radiant white coat that has already begun to thicken. It moves across the crag with movements so precise they seem to defy gravity. Its hooves are specially structured to adhere to the smallest ledges. They provide a grip that no other large mammal possesses. Each step is performed with mathematical precision. The animal's body automatically calculates angles, forces, and balance points. Autumn brings unique challenges to the highlands. The first snows can arrive suddenly, covering footholds with layers of slippery ice. Sudden temperature changes can trigger rockfalls that threaten these climbers. The same extreme conditions also bring nutritional opportunities. The mountain goat's autumn feeding focuses on energy-rich plants. Alpine grasses now provide optimal nutrition levels to survive the winter. Its specialized digestive system allows it to thrive on fibrous plant matter. This vegetation would provide insufficient sustenance for most other large mammals. From the oceanic abysses where orcas hunt to the highest peaks, where the mountain goat defies gravity, every corner harbors life forms that transform seasonal abundance into energy reserves. For thousands of years, Alaska's wildlife existed under natural laws of abundance and scarcity. Indigenous peoples lived as part of these cycles, taking what they needed and understanding their role in the ecosystem. Their impact remained within the limits of natural sustainability. The arrival of European and American settlers in the 18th and 19th centuries marked a fundamental change. What followed was not integration, but exploitation on a scale the ecosystem had never experienced. Commercial hunting and fishing activities extracted resources with an intensity that quickly surpassed natural systems. The discovery of gold in Alaska triggered a new wave of environmental disruption. Mining activities contaminated streams and rivers with mercury and other toxic substances that persist to this day. Placer mining left scars on the landscape that are still visible from space more than a century later. Modern industrial development has brought challenges that far exceed the impacts of previous exploitation. Climate change is altering environmental conditions to which fauna has adapted for millions of years. The warming that has occurred in Alaska over the last 50 years is double the global average. Changes are so rapid that many species cannot adapt at the speed necessary to survive. Ocean acidification is altering marine ecosystems in ways that affect the entire food web. Shell-building organisms find it increasingly difficult to build their protective cover in more acidic waters. The collapse of these fundamental species propagates through the food web, affecting fish, birds, and marine mammals. Global warming is also altering the synchronization of natural events, creating mismatches between species and their food sources. Plants sprout earlier, but the insects that depend on them might not be present. Caribou migrations may arrive too early or too late as the seasons change. These biological mismatches can have devastating impacts on wildlife populations. They have evolved depending on a precise schedule for their survival and reproduction. Alaska has always given humans the feeling of being before an indomitable world. Frozen mountain ranges, endless spruce forests, and rivers stained red with salmon form one of the grandest wilderness areas. But even this land that seemed eternal is changing. Alaska and the entire Arctic are warming faster than most other regions on Earth. Winter is shorter, sea ice forms later, and permafrost is softening and collapsing. In 2025, winter sea ice in the Arctic recorded one of its lowest maximums in 47 years of observation. For Alaska, this is the displacement of the entire living world. With the retreat of sea ice, polar bears must swim further to hunt seals. When snow melts earlier, caribou can lose sync with the season of nutritious sprouts. Warming affects the tiny organisms at the base of the food chain, dragging the entire ecosystem along. The story of Alaska is not only one of loss. Across this vast land, humans are cooperating to protect what can still be saved. Scientists monitor ice, salmon, and the ocean. indigenous communities share traditional knowledge accumulated over thousands of years of coexisting with nature. Park rangers and conservation organizations seek ways to help Alaska adapt to a changing future. One of the pillars of conservation is the Anilka Act of 1980. This law set aside more than 100 million acres of federal land for new conservation units. Thanks to this, grizzly bears still have salmon rivers, and grey wolves retain tundras to hunt. In salmon streams, restoration projects are removing old culverts that blocked fish passage. When water flow is reconnected, salmon can travel further to reproduce. When salmon return, it is not just one species of fish being saved. The entire forest, bears, eagles, wolves, and the ocean benefit from a healthier river. In Alaska, salmon is the current of energy that links the sea with the land. Dying after spawning, their bodies nourish the soil, and the soil feeds the trees. Alaska is a gigantic natural laboratory where scientists study Arctic ecology and migrations. That is why it is mentioned in topics such as wildlife conservation, marine biology, and biodiversity protection. To understand Alaska is to understand how the Earth works. To understand the salmon is to understand how the ocean feeds the forest. To understand the grey wolf is to understand the role of the predator in ecological balance. To protect Alaska is to allow rivers to flow free and the old-growth forest to remain standing. When the aurora shines again and the wolf's howl fades away, Alaska will continue telling its story. If you love the wild beauty of Alaska, start with small actions like reducing waste and respecting natural habitats. If you have enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications. Leave us a comment indicating which Alaskan animal impressed you the most. Each interaction helps nature content reach more people. Alaska remains there, majestic and fragile. Today, more than ever, it needs humans to choose to be on the side of life.
Aunque viven a miles de metros de altitud y parecen orgullosos de no tener depredadores naturales. La mayor amenaza para la supervivencia de estos buitres es la influencia humana sobre sus ecosistemas aislados. El uso de cebos envenenados por parte de algunos ganaderos locales está provocando graves daños en las poblaciones de quebrantahuesos. Estas aves pueden caer accidentalmente en esa trampa y convertirse en víctimas de una muerte lenta y dolorosa. El uso de partes del cuerpo de esta ave rapaz en ciertas culturas locales también contribuye al descenso de sus poblaciones. El panda rojo es otro habitante salvaje de las laderas del Everest que se encuentra seriamente amenazado. La pérdida de hábitat causada por el aumento de la deforestación está deteriorando poco a poco los bosques de las zonas más bajas de este ecosistema de montaña. Aunque la deforestación a gran escala no está permitida en la región del Everest, el crecimiento del turismo aumenta la demanda de nuevas infraestructuras y de recursos como la leña. Ni siquiera el poderoso leopardo de las nieves escapa a los efectos de la actividad humana en su entorno extremo. Este magnífico felino está clasificado actualmente como una especie vulnerable y se enfrenta a amenazas graves. Entre ellas, destaca el aumento de la caza furtiva, con el objetivo de vender su piel y sus huesos en el mercado negro. Los cazadores furtivos acechan a este felino y acaban con su vida en un acto de verdadera brutalidad. Para el gigantesco yak salvaje, la historia no es muy diferente. La amenaza de la hibridación con yaks domésticos, junto con la caza ilegal y la competencia por los pastos con el ganado, convierte su supervivencia en un enorme desafío. Incluso las manadas de lobos, aparentemente indomables, tampoco están libres de peligro. Como consecuencia de la caza furtiva y de los conflictos frecuentes con los ganaderos, estos cánidos afrontan hoy un futuro incierto. Su población en declive está estimada en no más de 400 individuos, lo que los sitúa en una situación crítica de amenaza.